DFZRadio.com.
You're listening to DFZRadio.com. Stay tuned for the Hydro Chef Farm to Table Cannabis coming up at 5 o'clock in 7 minutes. Stay tuned and listen to these jams.
Drink in my cup, someone tell the DJ, crank it on up. Side diesel in my blood, purple drink in my cup, someone tell the DJ, crank it on up. Yeah, crank it up, crank it on up, crank it up. Sour diesel up in my blood, purple drink up in my cup, crank it up, crank it on up. That's D, got me smoking the bass, no stress cheese. Now hold up, roll up. Check the situation, about to go nuts. With a little bit of perk up in my cup, you could tell the bartender to fill it on up. That's alright, baby, work your stuff, and that's all night, baby, work your strut. You and your friends can ride when I go. Take a little spin in my Monte Carlo. Take a little dip, baby, show you how I roll. Take a little hit, baby, puff on the hydro. Eyes so lit, make me look like my eyes closed. Purple Drake mix, make me look like my eyes glow. Hypno Grey Goose with a little grape juice. That's how it is, so I'ma have to take side diesel in my blood. Purple drink in my cup, someone tell the DJ, crank it on up. Side diesel in my blood, purple drink in my cup, someone tell the DJ, crank it on up. Yeah, crank it up, crank it on up, crank it up. Sour diesel up in my blood, purple drink up in my cup, crank it up, crank it on up. It's the ADX team with no doubt in between, and we stay fresh and clean when we hop on the scene, and we style on them, profile on them. If they wanna act crazy, then we wild on them. It's the S to the T and that Cambo G, either Maserati blue or the Lambo green, and that Chevrolet mean when it drop on the street, either hating on you or they hating on me. And it's shaved up, raised up, drive it to the flow, got them blades that stay tough. And the candy on the bike, same color as sour. Catch me on the site 100 miles per hour. This is my life, so this ain't ours. So I stay tight, so this is power. With the ADX team, you could call us some brave hearts. Sour diesel trees, you could call it the trademark. Side diesel in my blood, purple drink in my cup, someone tell the DJ, crank it on up. Side diesel in my blood, purple drink in my cup, someone tell the DJ, crank it on up. Yeah, crank it up, crank it on up, crank it up. Sour diesel up in my blood, purple drink up in my cup, crank it up, crank it on up. West Coast, crank it on up. East Coast, crank it on up. Midwest, crank it on up. Down south, crank it on up. Yeah, crank it up, crank it on up, crank it up. Sour diesel up in my blood, purple drink up in my cup, crank it up, crank it on up.
SG, DJ Dale, Big Bam, Killer P, Gino with the OE, it's the ADX team. 462 Mob.
77 Elko, riding down the west coast. Candy paint dripping cause I just got a fresh coat. California raised me, an LA baby. The Chevrolet raisin, scraping on Dayton's, riding down Rosecrans. Get with the program, call me the drill man, the hydros potents. Got your eyes low, lower than the ocean. Just west coasting through the coast with the potion and the best dro to smoke. The baddest bitches, girls in bikinis with ass titties. The hustle game easy, you just can't believe till you see me on TV. Drive down the wrong street, might see the tech smoke. Hop in the ride and let's go to the west coast. This life is like a movie. You meet a model bitch, then you fuck her like a groupie. Cruising through these Cali streets, smoking on this OG. Cash rules everything around me, I need more cream. West Coast, get it in. What the fuck you think? Saying I'm riding with you, really though, this money in the bank. E3 hotter than the California forecast. Burning up these tracks, nigga, I need more cash. Yeah, I'm a bona fide hustler. Fuck with my family or cash and I'ma cut ya. Real G's get it, that's only the obvious. Go against us, you know you facing the consequence. I love my state, but I really hate the politics. Better keep stepping, buddy boy, in a pile of shit. Yeah, in a pile of shit. E3, get it in, nigga, I'm live as shit. 3, 2, 1. As the world keeps spinning, like gold 100 spokes, engine running, Chevy gunning down the coast. Just let it roll. Who doesn't love to see a 6-4 hop down the block, banging Easy E and Pac? Motherfuck the cops. I drove in my ride, but I ain't even tripping. It's another summer night and I'm about to get the dipping. It's California A, got some beautiful women. Gotta see it for yourself, it's such a beautiful vision. Palm trees, palm weed, won't you ride with me? West Coast in, floating through these Cali streets. Cruising down the boulevard in the late night. Sunset to the daylight, we take flight. Lights, camera, action, fast cars and jewelry. Models and groupies, we film in a movie. It's a motion picture, everybody's a celebrity. Won't you take a picture? It's a motion picture, everybody's a celebrity. Won't you take a picture? Latin girls, Asians, black girls, Jamaicans, white girls, they all on vacation. Pop another bottle, yeah, we buy 'em by the case, and we spit it big faces.
DFZRadio.com.
DFZRadio.com.
Feeling so high. up that hydro make me feel fine. Roll up that hydro make me feel fine. Cook up that hydro make me feel high. Feeling so high. Roll up that hydro make me feel fine. Roll up that hydro make me feel fine. Cook up that hydro make me feel high.
All right, it's 5 o'clock. You know what that means? Kitchen is open, the grill is flaming, and the stovetop is burning. I am yours truly, the hydroponic chef, here to entertain you for all your culinary cannabis needs. I'll be in your ear for the next hour. We're going to put some things in your mouth to get you medicated. We're going to keep you up to date. We're the only show offering edible news, interviews, and edible reviews with the top brands in the industry. This is Farm to Table Cannabis, proudly broadcast on DFZRadio.com and High Times TV. You ain't got to pay nothing but attention. We're going to keep you entertained today. We got some giveaways. You call in now, 562-653-0707. We got Kim from Madam Munchies in the studio. We got the cocktail whisperer himself calling in. So sit back, relax, spark one up, and let me entertain you. Kim, say what's up to everybody. Welcome to the show.
Hey, everyone. How's it going today? It's great to be here, Chef. Thank
you for coming on. So, yeah, we're going to get you educated and medicated. And as always, we always like to start the show off with some news. So let's head out to Mexico. Mexico's poised to be the biggest legal marijuana market in the world.
What?
And who's going to benefit the most? Mexico's marijuana revolution is on full display, and the steps of the nation's Senate, where for the last 9 months, activists have maintained a fragrant cannabis garden. Each day, hundreds of people stroll amid the labyrinth of towering green plants, freely lighting joints and getting high. The wafting smoke is meant to serve as a reminder to the senators who will have to walk through the plumes to get to work, and lawmakers have until December 15th to pass the legalization of cannabis under orders from the Supreme Court, which 2 years ago struck down a marijuana ban as unconstitutional in Mexico. You hear that? A garden in front of the Capitol in Mexico, reminding them they only have until December 15th to make their fucking mind up. Could you imagine putting that kind of a pressure on, like, as a sales tactic or on our politicians? Like, Jesus, I like it. I dig it. Way to go, Mexico. That's a different way to get things done. Blow some smoke in your senator's face down here and see where that gets you, though. Right. But we're going to go out to the Inquirer, the race for synthetic cannabinoids. This is by Tiffany Cray from Bloomberg. The fake cannabinoids are coming. The fake cannabinoids are coming. And just like the artificial meat popping up on your fast food menus and grocery shelves across the country, this could disrupt multiple industries. As CBD has become more popular, the growing number of companies are scaling up efforts to produce lesser-known cannabinoids such as CBG and CBN. Although the compounds can become natural from the plant itself, some biotech firms are finding it cheaper to engineer them synthetically. So now the race is on to improve these production and bring down costs as demand grows for cannabis-derived treatments for sleep, pain, relaxation, me being a dick, and all other kinds of ailments. That could open up the opportunities for a lot of consumer goods and pharmaceuticals. You know what I mean, Saint? I mean, just to consume or not to consume, right. That is the question.
For sure.
And when it comes to synthetic, I don't know. If it's taken out of the ground and it's derived from a rock, or if it's derived from something natural, is it still synthetic? Because I think still organic, synthetic, that's still in the eyes of legislation, you know?
Yeah,
when legislation gives something organic, it's usually because they're getting paid off of it. I imagine it's the same thing with synthetics now, too.
I wonder about that with the terps, too, natural, synthetic. Really wonder what all that means sometimes.
Right.
So, I mean, there's going to be a big debate going on in the future. Do you want synthetic CBD or THC in your edibles, or are you against that? So we're here to go through that subject with you, and we're also going to go to Florida, where a fierce legal battle is still continuing over Florida as they look at one of the nation's most lucrative markets, cannabis. It could be a case that dramatically impacts the state's pot industry. The Florida Supreme Court has an unusual move Wednesday, hearing a second round of arguments in a challenge to state law amid implementation of a constitutional amendment that broadly legalized medical marijuana. Tampa-based Bobrow LLC is fighting the good fight and challenging the 2017 law, which created a regulatory structure for the state's medical marijuana industry. And Bobrow, which owner included the prominent strip club owner Joe Redner, alleges that the law improperly carries out the amendment. And one of the parts of the laws requires medical marijuana operators to handle all aspects of cannabis businesses, including growing, processing, and distributing and selling plants. But FloraGrow maintains that the requirement known as a vertical integration system runs afoul of the constitutional amendment approved by more than 71% of Florida. So the vertical integration requires limits on numbers of companies that can participate in the industry, and the Tampa business contends FloraGrow won in a lower court after initiating its legal challenge 3 years ago, and Wendy's argument is going to come up under Governor Ron DeSantis' administration, and they appealed to appellate court decisions that upheld part of the temporary injunction issued by the county circuit judge, who found that in 2017 it conflicted with the constitutional amendment. So big ups to FloraGrow. They're challenging it. It's only 5 o'clock here, so that's just happened today. So we'll have some answers tomorrow on that. And as always, we'll keep you up on that and other subjects in the world of farm-to-table cannabis. So we're here every week, keeping you up to date, keeping you educated and educated. It's a hard job, but somebody's got to do it. Booyah! And we also brought out the cocktails today, so we're having a little mixed cocktail in honor of our guest who will be coming on here shortly, Mr. Warren Bobrow himself. And Kim, this is your second appearance on the Farm to Table Cannabis Show, so you're getting pretty comfortable here, I see.
It's great to be here in person this time. It makes it so much more fun.
Yeah, there were so much things going on last time. Sometimes it feels like the world's against me on interviews, like I'm trying to make things happen. And for Kim, our first appearance, there was fires. Just like there's fires going on this year up in NorCal, there was fires going on 2 years ago up in NorCal too. So
it was the same time of year, about 3 years ago.
And unfortunately, the same areas too.
Right, and that's where I was, but now I'm down here in LA, so a little further
a lot of
away
things
from all
happened.
that.
Yeah, a lot of things happened since the last time we talked. So we're gonna get to catch up on that and some of the other things going on in the world of cannabis. And our heart goes out to everybody affected by the fires too. I just want to say that please go out there and contribute and give back what you can, because you think there's troublesome in the cannabis industry. Just imagine how much product was lost by fires, how many people lost their everything, people lost their lives, pets, livestock. So big thoughts to everyone up there in NorCal going through this. And on a positive note, the world of legalization is ever changing, and we've got several states looking at some legalization on the ballot, including Arizona, which was it was like the new Nevada kind of. Nevada was really against cannabis for so long, and now with legislation changing in the right direction, it sounds like after November 3rd, we might just possibly, don't want to jinx it, have recreational cannabis in Arizona. So big ups to you, Arizona, and everyone listening. Call in now, 562-653-0707. And if you're from Arizona, shoot, you definitely got to call in and talk to us about what's all to come for your state of legalization. So real quick, we're going to take a break. We're going to do a little intro. We're going to talk to Warren Bobrow, the cannabis cocktail whisperer. And you got some prizes you can win. You can call in and get your questions answered about medicating at home. We're here to help you get through the pandemic. We'll keep you posted. Farm to Table Cannabis. Stay tuned. We got an interview with Warren Bobrow right now.
Yeah, let's get into this track right here called Let's Get High
Cruising down the street
by
in my
E-Zone.
6'4".
Let's go.
Rolling up a J, my eyes real low. Smoking the endo, smoke out the window. Smoking the endo, I only do big smoke. Cruising down the street in my 6'4". Rolling up a J, my eyes real low. Smoking the endo, smoke out the window. Smoking the endo, I only do big smoke. Let's get high. Let's get high. I wanna get high. I wanna get high. The game done changed, everybody smoke now. Y'all still lack, all you know is all the smoke shops. We the chosen few, I thought that you knew. Disciples of greatness, smoke box outrageous. What the herb has done for me, nothing could replace it. I went from tasteless and nameless to kind of weed famous. High and hungry Vegas, on weed show playlist. Fuck those that hate it, cause this lane I'm on, I was the one to pave it. Sacrifice his life just so we could all make it. All those risks that we taking, like it's a motherfucking job out here. Cruising down the street in my 6'4", rolling up a J, my eyes real low. Smoking the endo, smoke out the window. Smoking the endo, I only do big smoke. Cruising down the street in my 6'4", rolling up a J, my eyes real low. Smoking the endo, smoke out the window. Smoking the endo, I only do big smoke. Let's get high. Let's get high. I wanna get high. I wanna get high.
Your lungs ain't ready for this type of sesh. New strain every day when you around the best. Step up to the plate, but just walk with caution. The potency of this will have you coughing, laughing and conscious, exploring shit. It's a perfect fit. Now enjoy the elevation. If you still contemplating whether you should smoke, then I'll keep explaining about the herb and its greatness. Ain't no need to fake this. The cure to illness, the cure to sickness, and a booming business. So what you gonna do when it's time to chew? Take a hit of inspiration, enjoy the sensation.
Cruising down the street in my 6'4", rolling up a J, my eyes real low. Smoking the endo, smoke out the window. Smoking the endo, I only do big smoke. Cruising down the street in my 6'4", rolling up a J, my eyes real low. Smoking the endo, smoke out the window. Smoking the endo, I only do big smoke.
Let's get high. I wanna get high. I wanna get high.
This is Canna Chef Jen, and you're listening to DFZ Radio, Farm to Table Cannabis with the Hydroponic Chef.
Hey guys, this is Alice Moon. I'm sending some major love to the Hydroponic Chef. He did an epic job at the High Times Cook-Off, so go follow him. I'm high now. Sending some love, 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 love.
This is Mark with Cannabis Supper Club, and you're listening to DFZ Radio, Farm to Table Cannabis with the Hydroponic Chef.
Yo, it's BKJ on Team King, and you listening to DFZ Radio. What?
DFZRadio.com.
If I'm rolling up some trees, you can smoke with me. I like the blunt. I like the blunt. If I'm rolling up
Welcome back. Farm to Table Cannabis. We have Kim in studios from Madam Munchies, and we got a special call-in right now too. We've got the cocktail whisperer himself, Warren Bobrow. He's gonna help us get through this pandemic and teach us how to get medicated on a different level, maybe a little bit of crossfading, if you will.
All right.
So,
Welcome back.
So without further ado, I would like to welcome the cocktail whisperer to the show. Warren, welcome. Thank you so much for coming.
We've got the cocktail whisperer himself, Warren Bobrow. He's gonna help us
to get out and come hang out with the chef for a minute, right?
How to get medicated on a different level.
So you came on for our inaugural season, and things have been moving pretty fast for you, I would say. Everybody knows about the cannabis cocktails, mocktails, and tonics, and if they don't, they need to go pick this book up. This really did lay the foundation for a lot of these mixing at home and medicating at home. But before or after all that, it was Forbes. So now you're writing for Forbes. You're doing. Oh, really? The pandemic. Well, that kind of leads me into some questions that I wanted to ask you too.
But before after all that, Forbes. So now you're writing for Forbes. You're doing.
That's over, man. It's over. I got fired.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The pandemic.
Yeah. Someone took exception with my perceived success.
Well, and they leads me into some questions that I wanted to ask you too.
What it is it allowed me to move forward. It allowed me to raise the bar of my own work and not be quite so concerned what the man thought. And I've been working for myself for about 10 years now, and it's tough to work for the man.
And
so I'd rather not if I don't have to.
Well, that's the thing too. Everyone wants to talk about the man, but there's something about it's not selling out if people are buying. It's giving the people what they want, and what they want now is being educated on the product. But I think the question I wanted to ask you was when you are writing about the product and you are talking about what's going on, how do you, represent the professionalism with the way the industry is moving right now, but still maintain the culture? And I find that's the balance that people, they need to ride that. How are you able to do that so well, Warren?
That's the easiest part, because as a man of the age that I've attained, I'm lucky that I've been able to say that I first started enjoying the plant probably about, well over 40 years ago, and I think that's very authentic, and it gives me a chance to keep the humility in it, because it's a plant that I'm very fond of and always have been. And I can think back to the first time that I enjoyed it, and I can think about the first time I smelled the plant when it was burning, and I remember it. And I remember the first time I smelled really great California weed, and I remember the first time I smelled Hawaiian weed. These things stay in my head. I'm a taster of spirits as well as cannabis, so flavors and aromas are something very intimate to me.
And I think that really goes into creating an experience, what cannabis is all about. You said something there that really spoke to me. You remember the first time you smelled cannabis. People remember the first time they had the edible,
Absolutely, and the taste and the experience of it, very much so.
So one of the biggest things I miss about not getting to go out, and I hope you're able to manage it so well during the pandemic, but these events, the events, getting to have new things. One of the first times I met you was at one of these cannabis private events, and you were shaking up cocktails, giving just free knowledge. I was like, damn, this is so good. You should be charging for this shit. He's like, well, I wrote a book.
I've actually written 6 books, but that's another story. Yeah, and I just got a copy of my my bitters and shrub syrup cocktails book, which is my 3rd book, and this one I'm still trying to pay off. So if any of your listeners go up on Amazon and want to buy it, it would really be appreciated, because I would like to finally get paid for my work.
Yeah, well, you've been giving out knowledge for so long, and doing it for all the right reasons too. But it feels like up until recently there wasn't a lot of unexplored areas in the hospitality industry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a chef, so yeah, I know.
Everything's been done to death in cooking, and one of the
that's the problem.
Yeah, one of the few untouched areas is cannabis. And
yeah, but I didn't want to look at it purely recreationally. I mean, it's nice that we can use it to get high and all that stuff, but I'm really looking for a non-confrontational approach. I have glaucoma. It's a bad thing, and I have to use cannabis medically, and sometimes smoking a joint in the street here in New Jersey is probably not advised, because no matter what anyone else is doing, it's still illegal in the state, and you still can get arrested for it, and people still go to jail for it. I mean, that's absolutely crazy. But that's the fact of life. And so I've created a method in my book, Cannabis Cocktails, Mocktails, and Tonics, that can knock down an entire family of rhinoceroses if you want. I did it on Vice. I destroyed them on live TV. This is a fact. It's not made up. It's something that can happen. I always say take the Thai food method. You don't have to have that entire drink. It might get you messed up.
You could always add more, but you can't take it away.
You can't take it away. It's like Thai food. You don't go to a Thai restaurant and order 5-star spicy. Unless you like that shit.
You're going to be praying. You're going to be praying later over the portion of guys. Now, with the ever-changing landscape of cannabis and the cocktails, do you ever see a day where we can advertise cannabis the way that we see alcohol advertised?
Well, absolutely, and that's what I'm working on right now in California. Something we call an incubator, and they're helping me bring a master mixology level mocktail to market that has live resin THC in it. And I'm doing this shit. So it's like this is the first time in my life I can actually say, after 8 failures, that I may be able to actually do something that will succeed.
Well, that's what it takes, though. We have to fail a couple times to throw some things against the wall to make it work. And sometimes a handful of times for some people. But it's about reinventing. And, that's something I think, Bob, you've been really good at, is not just the buzz stuff, right? Because everybody wants to talk about the buzzworthy fucking cocktail, right? But
I could do that too. And I have, and I've done it in Russia. I mean, you know, I've done it all.
So you're internationally traveled when it comes to this cocktail thing. But
absolutely.
The big buzzword now everybody wants to talk about is microdosing. Now,
why
microdosing in cocktails?
No, I'm not doing that. My drink is 10 milligrams of live resin. No, I don't talk about microdosing. I think that's sucker's poker. That's like adding CBD to an alcoholic drink.
So
they're only taking your money.
Yeah.
What's that?
I mean, the buzzword right now is micro, but really,
no, it's not going to happen.
What about a world where we start focusing on the actual dosages that are made for healing, that are actually focused on you?
I'm looking for precision. And in the beginning, when I wrote my book, it was anything but. So it was the Wild West, as we say. It was like rum. You know, the stuff is aged in bourbon oak, and tons of caramel is added to it. And if you're lucky, they'll add 2 or 3 ounces of sugar to that bottle that you have. There's no one that tells them that they can't do that. And the same thing is going on in weed. I'm not telling you that I'm doing something that's different. I'm telling you that no one has done this yet. So through my talent as being a master mixologist, I want to do something other than an insipid seltzer. That doesn't impress me at all. I mean, I'm a member of the United States Bartending Guild, the USBG. They'd kill me if I did a seltzer.
You'd lose all your credibility right off the rip.
Over. I'm known as being someone who works with flavors. I'm a saucier in the kitchen. I took a lot of time in my life, over 10 years, to attain the level of a certified chef. I take that approach every single drink that I create. It has balance. It has flavor. It's not sweet. It has the flavor that you can't explain. And it all works together.
It creates that memory.
And it's memory.
It's about finding
right.
that moment with the sensories of being high, the smells and the taste, which creates memory. And that's what creates a good conversation piece.
So my beverage is named Klaus after my 1800s German drinking gnome who has followed me all over the world. And all the places that I've worked as a bartender, I've brought him along with me.
Klaus seems like a good fellow. You know, he seems like a guy I could have a drink and a smoke with, and a bomb and a pancake.
Well, you know, when you travel by yourself, you need to have a wingman, and he's my wingman.
Oh, I'm sure Klaus gets all the bitches.
Well, I'll just be a gentleman.
Well, you know the gnome knows. So
the gnome knows, yeah.
Let's talk about some of your favorite ways to infuse. How have you been getting through the pandemic? And what are some easy recipes and techniques for infusing that you can do at home right now to get crossfaded?
Get yourself a bottle of chartreuse, which is made by the Carthusian monks.
The beautiful
in the French
color.
Alps. The beautiful color green, named after these monks that take a vow of silence. And you want to decarb about, if you're doing medical like I do, I would say decarb an ounce of cannabis 240 to 260 degrees for an hour, depending on what you want to do. I mean, I use the Ardent FX, so I don't have to, you just push the button and it comes out 100% bio, available. But you can stuff a whole bunch of weed into a bottle of chartreuse and let it sit for a month or so, and then take it out, and you have infused.
Infused chartreuse.
Yeah, infused chartreuse is beautiful. That's one of the methods that I use. The other method I use is a heat infusion. It's just low and slow, and it puts all that nice THC inside the chartreuse. I always do it with like a half a bottle, so it gets extra strong. Sorry about that.
Sorry about my doorbell.
Yeah, it's like an earthquake. So anyway, the chartreuse works really nicely. It has that beautiful herbal. It has enough alcohol. I think it's about 110 proof. It has all the stuffing.
Derived from herbs?
Yeah, herbs that are picked by people who can identify herbs as opposed to things that'll hurt you out in the wild. I couldn't tell you how many herbs, but there are quite a few of them in chartreuse, and it has almost a horseradishy flavor. But it's also quite hot, and it's delicious. It's sumptuous, and it's really wonderful to infuse. Another thing that I like infusing is simple syrup.
Easy way.
One
to
to one,
infuse
a one-to-one
different-
simple syrup. Easy, easy, easy. Another thing I love to infuse is condensed milk. You can make your tres leches cake with this THC infused condensed milk, or dribble it into a cup of Vietnamese hot coffee, iced coffee or hot coffee. Another thing that I love doing is is like a mango lassi. Fresh mango, Greek yogurt, a little bit of cardamom bitters, and THC infused simple syrup, or THC infused white, rum agricole, or whatever you want to use.
Here's one I did the other night. This is my favorite classic 1970s drink. Represents the car culture. The Golden Cadillac.
Oh wow,
you remember that?
That's totally tiki. I love that stuff.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
My buddy's dad turned us on to that long time ago. He was in the old classic car clubs and the Golden Cadillac, and we used to spike it with a little bit of Yukon Jack.
If you don't want to know what's in that, man, that's rye whiskey, but it's rye with a very little R.
Oh yeah,
it has a lot of added sugar.
And so I like that because we were able to add just a little bit of coffee liqueur to that after it was infused, and that was our way of getting crossfaded. But these techniques and other techniques are available to you through the Cannabis Cocktails, Mocktails, and Tonics by Warren Bobrow. How many recipes are in here?
75.
75 ways for you to get crossfaded at home. And one of the cool ways I've seen that you infuse is you use the whipped cream maker with the CO2 cracker. Please give us a quick little, how do you make that work?
The guy who taught me this is a guy named Dave Arnold. And if you look him up on Google, you'll be blown away. He's like a molecular gastronomist scientist who happens to work with alcohol. So he was infusing herbs into vodka, which is a very basic base syrup, base spirit. There's just nothing to it. Good vodka is the absence of flavor or color. I mean, or smell. It should be just neutral liquor. Right. And he would be forcing different herbs and spices. And so he'd put like a half a bottle in a Issy, which is a whipped cream maker, a half a bottle of vodka in that, and then stuff it with a whole bunch of herbs and spices, and then force those herbs and spices literally through pressure directly into the vodka, and then strain out all the nasty stuff at the end. Wow. And you would have infused vodka. So if Dave was doing it with herbs and spices, I could do it with herbs.
And sure enough,
when it's decarbed, which is absolutely essential, the cannabis has to be activated. I have to tell you, I mean, so many people will disagree with me. Say, no, you don't have to activate it. You have to activate it, otherwise you're just drinking green juice. And we don't want to be drinking green juice. We want to feel something.
If you want green juice, go get some absinthe. If you want to get your cocktail, you've got to decarb.
Absinthe is different. I mean, I love using absinthe to infuse. I make Sazeracs with THC in them,
Nice.
Or absinthe frappes, or Ramos gin fizzes with THC in them.
No, I dig that. So let me ask you this: what's next for the Cocktail Whisperer? And tell people one more time where they can find your new book.
Well, I wish it was a new book. I wrote my book in 2015. It came out in 2015. I'm on the 8th or 9th printing, which is pretty good for a young guy. Most people don't get their book printed that many times. Amazon, you can get it, or your indie bookstore, any place in the world. Barnes & Noble, Indigo Books if you're up in Canada, whatever. What was the second part of the question? I have a very short memory.
Dog, that's because we smoke so fat. We smoke good. People don't know me and Bob smoke good.
What's next is my THC infused beverage named Klaus. I'm going to be in California from November 2nd until the 6th doing the formulation with my co-packer, and we're going for it. And I work with a food scientist. We develop the bricks levels. We're going to do scalability. We're coming out with 4,400 cans. It's really exciting.
That's huge. And I mean,
I've never done anything like this.
And for anybody thinking about getting their idea off the ground, people on our platform are always looking to hustle. What's your biggest recommendation to them?
Be humble. Listen. Don't speak so much. The people who are working with me are the smartest people in the world, and I pay homage to them when I go to sleep and when I wake up in the morning, that I have an opportunity to work with a truly effective think tank, individuals who can take me to the next level and allow my strengths to help people drink better. Again, not a beer-flavored drink or an insipid seltzer, and it's not candy sweet.
What do you think about this whole seltzer craze? I got to ask you, Bob, because you come from the world of classic cocktails. We're talking 1920s, put some fucking egg in your drink.
So there you are. Oh, I love doing egg drinks, lift up the top of it. No, I like seltzer with a pastrami sandwich. I don't find a pleasure in drinking seltzer, other than, maybe with dinner, because it acts as a good way of getting my stomach digesting. It's fun to finish a cocktail with a little bit of fizz. But as far as running out to the store and buying a six-pack of flavored seltzer, whether it has THC or not, is just not my go-to. If I'm drinking seltzer at home, it's, Mountain Valley or Saratoga or, what have you. I don't have a soda stream because our water here sucks. So I want something that's good, but I don't search it out as like, mango, cherry, cucumber. I'm just not going to do it. And so that doesn't attract me. What attracts me is sophistication in drinks. What attracts me is balance. What attracts me is that memory factor. When the first time you smelled something, the first time you tasted something, and it have a taste in fact and in classic drinks. I mean, I'm not making garbage pail food here. Where you open up the refrigerator and pull out 18 different ingredients just because you got to sell them tonight.
That's it.
It's just not going to be that way. I do interesting techniques like grilling citrus fruits to bring out the
characteristics.
They're smoky, grilling with Angostura bitters on my citrus, and then using that juice with mezcal, just squeezing it right in a little glass of mezcal and drinking it down. I mean, there isn't anything better in life.
So before we wrap it up and we go eat some of these Madam Munchies products and do the next part of the show, I got to ask you, for people that are looking for a product that mix with cocktails themselves, do you have a couple of reputable brands you like to work with as mixers?
Anything
Warren Bobrow approved, like cannabis syrups, or our good friends over at Shuggies? I can think of some things you can.
I love their stuff, but there really is no one doing anything that I've seen. There's some bitters that are out there from Humboldt County that I saw that are tasty enough, but really cocktails and cannabis haven't made love yet.
Yeah.
But they will.
And
they
someday,
will. I assure you, they will.
And someday, Bob's going to be here to walk us through the whole thing. The book's called Cannabis Cocktails, Mocktails, and Tonics. He's also got herbs and shrubs.
Yeah, bitters and shrubs, syrup cocktails, apothecary cocktails, the craft cocktail compendium, whiskey cocktails, and a version of apothecary in French.
Hell yeah, dude, you're doing it for all the right reasons. Thank you for helping us get crossfaded. Love having you on the show. Can't wait for us to be able to be back in person together, sipping some cocktails. Go check out Warren.
Honored.
Go check out the book. And as always, stay educated, stay educated.
Thank you. Cheers.
So we're going to come back.
If I'm rolling up some trees, you can smoke with me. I like the blunt. I like the blunt. If I'm rolling up some trees, you can smoke with me. I like the blunt. I like the blunt. Rest in peace, Bob Marley. My blunt got a cold cut, Steve Harvey. I catch the buds with my glove, Steve Garvey. Quick to roll in the club, cause we party. They asking where the bomb at, cause everybody in the club smell that. It's Breeze, your loaded TV. Smoke about a pound every day of the week. Roll so fast you didn't see him coming your way. Turned around and there was a blunt up in your face. You must have thought that I was finished. The Breeze is never stingy with the spinach. Rolling up some trees. You can smoke with me. I like the blunt. I like the blunt. If I'm rolling up some trees, you can smoke with me. I like the blunt. I like the blunt.
I love the stickiest weed, cause I'm a Cali baby. Started from that chocolate tie from them early 80s. Now it's OG, a perfect mix with my OE. The shot of lean had a G moving slowly. Apparently, you ain't never smoked like me. Load me switches up like they was some magazines. I got some bad bitches rolling up blunts for me. Hop in the rotation, true story you can see. Even your bitch eyeballing wanna hit the tree. Smoking on weed, living life with my homie Breeze. I got that green thumb, I grow my own fucking weed. And if I got some problems, I'm hitting heavy tea.
Rolling up some trees. You can smoke with me. I like the blunt. I like the blunt. If I'm rolling up some trees, you can smoke with me. I like the blunt. I like the blunt.
I like the blunt, I like the bong, I take a dab, and I eat an edible. This is Farm to Table Cannabis, and I am thoroughly fucked up. You're not supposed to do that. That's what they tell me when I walk into the dispensary. And I say, hey, can I get a 1,000 milligram edible? And they say, you're not supposed to do that. I'd like to welcome Madam Munchies to the show for her second time. Featured in-studio guest of the week.
Hey, great to be here today, everyone. Thanks for having me.
It's been a minute. We've gone through a lot of trials and tribulations since the last time you were on the show.
Hell yeah.
I remember trying to convince you to come on the show last time in the middle of that crazy NorCal fire. At the time, I mean, people were getting evacuated. People were moving.
Man, that's where we were. I mean, when I was on the show last time, I was actually in Fort Bragg on the Mendocino coast. We had just left the farm. I have a farm in Potter Valley, and we had just evacuated the farm like 2 days earlier. And like you were just saying earlier, like surprised it didn't cancel, but I felt it was important to actually talk about that experience and share that, and I had the opportunity to share that because I was not the only one going through that.
So many people in the culture, too, affected by it. You know, the cannabis community was definitely touched by the fires that season and this season.
I mean, it's been going on every year since, and the reasons we're affected more than other industries is because we don't have the traditional insurances that cover our crops like you would if you're, you know, vineyard or any kind of plant, really, other than
the industry's got
cannabis.
People fighting with one hand behind their back.
Yeah, it was definitely a scary time, and you know, knock on wood, we were so lucky and so grateful that our crop was saved, and you know, huge thanks to all the firemen. They came all the way from Idaho to protect our lands, and it was just, I mean, I can't thank them enough.
Then. There was a big unity around the nation at that time. Nothing like what we got right now in voting.
Yeah, now everyone's just struggling on their own, and this whole like isolation thing might have increased that a little bit. We're just all in our own little corner these days.
You know what else was crazy is you were in the middle of a fire, but you were also running a women-owned business in the middle of a fucking I mean, I don't know what else to say, in the middle of a gray market.
Yeah,
you know, you were pretty much
transition.
riding that gray market at the time, and now here we are, 2020, year of the pandemic. You are officially on the legal market. So
100%.
We love seeing our farm-to-table cannabis guests grow into the legal market. We love our black market. Shout out to the black market. We love you. 32 is the new low. Don't forget. But we love when people make that transition and have success doing it. So we wanted to take a minute, spotlight you, tell people in the farm-to-table cannabis land what it is that you do, and how it is you're able to bring these amazing European confections inspired with cannabis.
Thank you.
So tell us, what inspired you to do the macaroons?
I mean, you know, first I just want to say you're absolutely right. I mean, shout out to the black market still, because we all come from that area, and it's definitely, felt like we were living in the gray for years and years, and this transition is not easy, and everyone who's been able to transition has my utmost respect, but everyone who hasn't also does, because people are just trying to feed their families out there, and providing a plant that's like so helpful to so many people. So it's a crazy time to be a part of, and I'm super grateful. And yeah, so the macaroons were inspired by my childhood in France. I grew up there, lived there for 17 years. Moved back to the U.S. As an adult because I was born in Boston and wanted to get to know this country.
Dual citizenship.
Dual
She's killing
citizen.
it.
That's right. And it was so funny because when I was growing up, I was always the American kid at school, and people would come to my house and we had that microwavable popcorn and they'd be like, "Whoa, what is this stuff?" And then when I moved back to the U.S., I all of a sudden became the French kid, talking about like macarons and wine and all that stuff and everything that I grew up with. So it's been awesome to just be able to share a piece of that culture here. And I think in food, in France, we really treat food like an art, and I saw an opportunity to bring that to the cannabis community because we've always been represented in such a shady way. And I thought, maybe if people saw things a little differently, they'd understand that there's so much more to this plant than they are willing to admit. And that's been, where we've had a lot of success in doing that.
Because it's to the point now with your art and the craft that goes into this. It's something to be proud of now. And there was a time where we couldn't brag and be proud of something that was being brought to the market.
Definitely.
And I think the way you're doing it is the right way. You're sourcing your own ingredients. That also makes me. Do you have any background in growing? Did you grow before in the past, other than?
So no, when I moved to California, actually, I met my.
So we know she wasn't growing in France.
I mean, I used to take the train over to Amsterdam. It's like a 3-hour train ride.
But so worth it.
So worth it, definitely. And we would stack up and just bring whatever we could back to Paris and enjoy the goods over there. And they have great stuff in Amsterdam.
Ahead of the times, for sure.
Really, yeah, that's where even
they were living in 2020
it.
a long time ago.
They know, and it always just inspired me. Like, well, if they can do it over there, why can't we just do this everywhere? Why are we going to jail here in France or before we're here in the U.S.?
So the coffee shop scene and the European confections really inspired you.
100%.
And now, do you come from a background in baking?
So I'm very much self-taught, did everything the hard way,
Mm-hmm.
Started in my home kitchen and, burned more pots and pans than I can even recount, spilled more things than I care to admit.
Well, that's the thing that you get in the home kitchen that you don't get in culinary school. And I've interviewed so many chefs here, and so many chefs, if I said, what would you tell someone about to go to culinary school? They said, don't. It's
honestly,
and I mean, it's because they don't allow you to fail in a lot of ways. A lot of it is humbling you, which is you absolutely need. And I'm not saying don't go to culinary school, but humility isn't something that can be taught in school. It's something you need to experience in the field. And that's part of being a chef is the humility and the sacrifice.
Definitely.
And, so in the cannabis industry, it's not any different than that, we found out. And, we were talking to Bob how it's one of the unexplored areas. And there's 1,000 different edibles, but it seems like there's also 1,000 of the same brownies out there. So with the macaroons, what can people expect as far as like the uniqueness of this compared to a confection that they're used to?
Yeah, so some of the things we do a little differently is we actually infuse with old school traditional methods. We use coconut oil and cannabis butter that we make in-house. All of the cannabis we use comes from my farm in Mendocino, which is actually managed by Tony from Terp Hogs and John, who are just amazing master growers. Honestly, they're the best, and it's just like such a blessing to be able to work with them. And so we make our own infusion, so you really get a full spectrum, body high, mind high. These new macarons now, they're 40 milligrams. We've been through different iterations. We had 20, we had 10, now 40. I realize it's awesome because most people who do consume edibles, they consume a lot of edibles. They have a high tolerance, and we want to be able to give them what they really need. So here you can have one macaron, you can have 40 milligrams in practically one bite, especially, for someone like yourself, you just power through that.
Where's my 1,000 milligram?
That's
Munchie?
right. I mean, the regulations are holding us back in a way, because we're limited to 100 milligrams per package, and that's kind of the downside of the legal market. But we do have this coconut oil; it's 1,000 milligrams per jar, so that's something we've provided now that people can use to bake.
Are
at
y'all in the
home.
medical market too, or just the rec market?
No, absolutely. They're still, pretty much combined. So from what I understand, the difference really comes from the purchasing side. As a consumer, if you're a medical consumer or recreational consumer, you'll be able to have different prices and different tax points. But as far as like the dispensaries, they usually are licensed for both. We're licensed for both, so we can provide for both.
That's huge. And I mean, that's really how people are being able to stay diversified during this pandemic, because we talked about how, shout out to the black market. not a lot of people, were supporting their dispensary before this pandemic.
I mean, and I don't always blame them because like the taxes are really killing us. It's almost like they're in a way they're shutting down the industry before it can even start to exist. There are so many taxes from where we start to when it ends in the consumer's hands that it blows my mind, and hopefully we can fix that.
Yeah, and there's big voting coming up, so it's got time to make yourself heard. You don't want to miss out on another opportunity to get recreation, Arizona. So
Right.
So what dispensaries right now are you available in, and how can people try your products?
Yeah, so here in LA, so we actually relocated our kitchen to the Boyle Heights area, which has been huge because one of the things you're saying about, when we were in the black gray markets, we couldn't advertise any of the stuff we were doing, and it was tough. We had this beautiful production line and we couldn't show it off. We were in this kitchen in like the senior, retirement community center. And I mean, honestly, we ended up having to pack everything up in overnight and haul it away because one of the residents kind of tried to rat us out to the city of Oakland. And we were just like, yeah, I don't know what to do about this. So now it's amazing.
Because we're kind of writing the laws on it as we go.
Yeah, and
people
get grandfathered in too, so you never know what to do.
And one city is different from another city, and just trying to navigate that itself is
it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. But yeah, so now we're at DTPG in downtown LA, LAPCG in West Hollywood, MMD North Hollywood, all amazing shops, Bud and Bloom in Orange County. We got a lot of places out in the desert. I think Empire, Palm Springs. Couple of spots. We're trying to get a bigger presence in the Bay Area right now, but we just do what we can with what we have. Cosmic Distribution is currently distributing our products. They've been an amazing team to work with. So we have 831 delivery in the Bay Area, and then a couple shops going up the coast all the way to Ukiah and Mendocino, where we come from. So.
Big things going on. Now, you remember a day when there wasn't a lot of females in the cannabis legal market, and now it's turned a page, and I feel like a lot of the more successful and higher ranking jobs are held by women in this industry. What do you think has been part of that movement? I mean, we see the social injustice movement going on right now.
Yeah.
We've seen, the women's power movement has been something has been going on for a long time. What do you think took so long with this industry, and why do you think it's changing now?
I think, honestly, sometimes it's hard to tell, but I do love it when I see, other women really putting themselves out there and pushing through, because it's tough. You really have to have thick skin to put up with some of the things you're going to hear throughout the journey. And, just huge props to any woman who's pushing through that. And, the social equity program, that's even like another part of the program, which I think is, it's been hard to implement, but it's going to yield some amazing results once it actually gets to working. Some of the women I really look up to in this industry are like Amber Center from the Congo Club and Whitney Beatty from the Apothecary, and they're leaders in the Supernova community, which is like this amazing organization that's really fighting to push that forward. And just when I see people like that, I'm like, yeah, these are the women that are really actually changing the game. And it's really hard. I mean, it's a constant hustle, a constant struggle, and I'm sure you're well versed in that area as well.
Well, we got to put a spotlight on it too, because I think it's worth mentioning how the guys are going to have to step it up, because I mean the girls are running the show
coming, yeah.
in the cooking with cannabis world. I can name way more women with their own brands than I can the guys. The guys are still holding on to that black market, and we love our black market, but
right.
There's going to be a time we have to come out of the shadows, and people are going to be looking to people that blaze the trail and laid the foundation for them. So what kind of recommendation do you give to not just the women, but anybody out there just thinking about making it and this hard to navigate cannabis industry?
Yeah, just try not to get frustrated too easily. And I know that's easier said than done, and I might be saying it for myself as well, but there is just so many pieces that are going to be so frustrating with the licenses and the administration and filing these documents and sending these documents. I had to get my fingerprints done probably like 20 times or something. Okay, slight exaggeration, but barely. So, just like take it with stride and, be patient about it and, keep pushing forward and ultimately know that you're doing the right thing and you're going in the right direction. Just don't ever expect anything to work out the first time. Seriously.
You got to fail a little bit. I talk about this in gardening too. People want to talk, they want to learn about gardening and they want to talk about growing, but have you failed? Have you killed a plant yet?
Right.
Talk to me when you killed a plant, because now you actually know about gardening and you know about what it takes. a lot of setbacks.
Yeah.
A lot of setbacks came, and you had to triumph over those, and that made you a better business person, I imagine, at the end of it. So people out there, looking at it, cross your T's, dot your I's, but look to the people who have, made their way through, and look for that guidance there, because it's a tricky world out there, and it's easy to do the wrong thing, like not source your own ingredients, or
Right.
try to do things the black market way while you're in the legal market. You see a lot of people still living in the gray area right now too.
I mean, it's confusing, Sometimes the rules are being written as we're trying to, conform to them. So it's never easy. It's never clear. But there is this saying that I love, which says, like, the master because he has failed more times, or she has failed more times than the student has even tried. And it just rings
The
so true
realest
to
shit.
me, It's so true. So, yeah, just keep failing. Don't worry about it. Keep failing. Every now and then you get those wins. Take those wins and celebrate the small wins, like even the tiniest thing. If it goes right, like, hell yeah, celebrate that. Celebrate with your team. We just went out this weekend with the kitchen crew from Los Angeles. We had a great time driving around the lakes and, the Los Angeles mountains and all that. And, because you never know what's going to happen next. So celebrate the journey, really. That's what's the most important part.
Yeah, that's it, and have a strong team around you, which is what you've done.
Yeah.
You've put together women-owned business, women hired business. How is it juggling all the people and attitudes and life?
I'm so lucky, honestly. The crew I work with is just amazing. Everyone's, always in such a great mood, so easy to work with. And, I don't know how I got so lucky. I knock on wood like probably every single day. But, I just try to keep a positive culture, positive environment going on. And really, I learned through a lot of my own failures going through this. I've had so many ups and downs. Like we won the Cannabis Cup in 2014. That was amazing, off the charts.
So many opportunities come from that.
Then, like I said, last time we were talking to you, we were evacuating from the farm. We had to move out of this kitchen overnight. We found a new kitchen here in Los Angeles. So it's just all these ups and downs, but super grateful for everyone who's supported me along the way and continues to do so.
Now, when it comes to giving back, people always want to know, okay, well, now you've made it, and so what are you doing to preserve the culture, and what are you doing to kind of give back, whether it be social inequity or social injustice movement, or LGBTQ, what do you guys do?
Yeah, so as a LGBTQ owner myself, I try to at least talk about that and hope that it might inspire other people to feel safe to be out, to live true to themselves. That wasn't something that was always that easy for me when I used to work in corporate jobs. It's something I felt like I had to hide. So it's awesome to be able to be so open about that. We have a huge gay flag in the office, and I can see when people walk by it, they immediately feel a sense of ease. Everyone's welcome there. It doesn't matter who you are. Everyone's welcome. But as far as givebacks, actually, when I really moved the business down here to LA, so we'd had clients here since we started, but this was a kind of a transition opportunity. And when I first got here, I was in the middle of a lot of different things, trying to get these licenses. The business wasn't operational at the time because I didn't have a kitchen anymore. I wasn't sure if these licenses were even going to go through. I was working as a pastry chef in a restaurant in West Hollywood. And something that really helped me during that time which was kind of like a dark time in a way, was I volunteered for this organization called School on Wheels. They're based in Skid Row in downtown LA. And what they do is they tutor homeless kids with, after school.
Somebody's got to teach those kids.
Honestly, I was just blown away by everything they were doing. And I would always tell them, I don't know if I'm helping these kids more than they're helping me, because just having that sense of purpose of there's even one tiny little child that seeing them, seeing me in their day, that might change their whole day, that might change a little bit of their outlook on their future, was the best feeling I ever had. So we donate to them regularly. We've had Sinead from their organization come visit our kitchen, which was pretty awesome. And I just want to give a huge shout out to them. School on Wheels, if you want to donate to them, the work they do is really amazing. Check out their website. Even right now in the virtual world, they're still continuing. Their tutors are still showing up virtually for these kids, and it's just
that's a good cause.
I can't thank them enough.
And
seriously.
the thing about having a platform like you have in the legal market to contribute to that That's something you can't do in the gray market or the black market.
Yeah.
And as much as you want to give back, it's really it's not as easy. We'll just put it that way.
Even in the legal market, when I called them, and first approached them with this idea of, hey, I'd like to sponsor your organization, I said, just so you know, we're a cannabis company. Is that going to be a problem? And I know that you work with kids, and I hope that's not a problem because I really, really want to support your organization. And it's so funny. I mean, Cindy is amazing, but she basically said, we get money from alcohol companies all the time. So I don't see why we wouldn't be able to get money from a cannabis company,
Right.
So it's like, great. Well, that's it. Yeah. So it's huge.
So without turning this into a job interview, you're a strong woman leader in the cannabis industry, representing on many different sides. What do you think some of the good leadership qualities are for a leader in this industry right now? Because everyone's so focused on professionalism, or they're so focused on the culture that it's just like, hey, whatever, wild, wild west. What do you think are some of the good qualities?
I think it's definitely like the impact you have on people, on from a personal level to a broader level. I like to make sure that anyone who works for me in the kitchen is having a good day, has something to eat for their lunch. I'm always asking them, "What'd you bring for lunch today?" And if they don't have anything, we're gonna get something, And
it's not just Munchies.
It's there's some of that too, but we have a lot of fish tacos going around, a lot of great food here in LA. But really, I just try to think about what's going to be my impact. If this were all to end tomorrow, if this were to be, done tomorrow, could I look back and feel, proud of what I brought into other people's day? And I want it to be a positive memory for them, and I want it to be uplifting. And if I can help them get to the next step of their journey, those are all the things that really matter to me. So I always try to focus on that. Obviously, it's a stressful journey, but that's a personal, thing. I chose to do this, so whatever stress comes from it.
You chose the hard way.
I
you
chose
could have
it.
took the easy way out,
100%.
stay black market.
No one made me do this, So I gotta always remember that.
Could have moved to Europe and been making $5,000 a fucking case on these things.
That's maybe someday, but yeah.
Which is another thing too. Completely the European market. Can you imagine if things blow up over there? We might not even have you another year or two. The way things are moving so fast over there.
It's not gonna happen overnight. Unfortunately, France is still very, very, backwards on all these topics, but I do hope that someday I'll be able to bring back some of the lessons learned here and help over there with that movement. They did just start a medical program for there's about 3,000 patients in France that were selected to be part of a government led cannabis experiment.
Well, it's a start.
It's a start, but it's that's exactly like your eye roll says it all. It's a start, but it's so far behind from where we're at here, So I really hope that changes someday. And I know some other countries have been a little more progressive, but obviously France is always in my heart, and I can't wait for the day that happens. But until then,
Viva la France
here.
Cannabis!
That's right. That's right.
Before Heavy T comes in here and kicks me out and eats all my cookies, let's talk about some of the flavors you have coming up for the season. Some of the cool, amazing confection. It's artwork. There's no other way to. Yeah. Macaroons, first of all, are a unique product in themselves. It's texture, it's flavor. You can do different things with them, and then you can decorate them too. So there's levels to macaroons.
Right.
First thing that comes to mind for me is texture. If the texture's off, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
First thing I've always noticed about your guys, it's that crunchy, spongy feel.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have the crunchy,
on
spongy.
the outside, spongy on the inside. Exactly.
But where do you get some of these designs?
So the idea is we want to have fun, right? We want to provide relief from pain, but really we want to make people happy, and cannabis can do that, and our products can do that too. So we want to have fun. So now we're switching our flavors. Every single batch we're making a new flavor. We want to keep it fun and interesting. Real artisanal.
You're not going to get the same thing twice, except for the quality.
If you see it and you like it, you should get it when you see it, because it's not going to come around. So we had like the fruity pack this summer. That was all these like fruity flavors: mango calentito, peach cobbler, tropical jungle was chocolate banana. Then we moved on to Elvis, so that's what you have right now. So it's Elvis's favorite dessert.
Peanut butter?
Chocolate banana peanut butter. Yeah,
oh my gosh, Elvis.
We also have the Cookie Monster that's out there. That's been one of my favorites. That was kind of like a new creation inspired this year. Dipped in chocolate ganache, dipped in Oreo and chocolate chip cookie crumbs. I was really trying to bring the French and American cultures together on that one.
Best of both worlds right there.
Exactly. And then the special seasonal one, we have actually it's a fun little witch hunt.
So you can win a T-shirt right now if you pay attention on their guys' Instagram.
Right. Find Frankenstone. We have the poison apple, It's a salted caramel apple flavor. It's honestly maybe our best ever. It's definitely up there. It's caramel on the outside, real apples on the inside that we, caramelize with some sugar, and then we put it all together. So the poison apple is decorated with a melted white chocolate. Looks like a cobweb vibe with some gold sprinkles. But then if you find Frankenstone in your box, you can win a free T-shirt. And Frankenstone, you'll definitely recognize him when you see him. So.
You'll know when you see
You'll
Frankenstone.
know, yeah.
Pull that up when you get him at Saint on the Instagram. So give your Instagram out.
Yeah, so at Madame Munchie, straight up, our website, madamemunchie.com. And anytime you have a question for us, reach out. I'm always answering. I'm always trying to help people. Even recently, I had someone from New York asking a couple questions about how should they infuse their edibles. What's the right method? How do they know the dosage they're going to get out of what they're doing? And I love to just help educate people, whether they're here, near or far, or whatever, because I learn from other people, and if I can teach someone else in turn, that's just giving back. So please reach out with any questions you have.
Any events or virtual events coming up?
It's tough. It's definitely tough these days, to do these events. That's why this was such a fun opportunity to come here and talk with you today. So grateful for that. But that's why we did the Find Frankenstone game. Yeah,
go
there
up
you
to
go.
the top there. There
that,
it is.
That's him right there. That's
Frankie
him right there.
and
Yeah.
Stoned.
So just trying to still have fun with our little golden green ticket out there, and hopefully
you also do pre-rolls too.
We do. So since we have this amazing flower, again, huge shout out to Turpogs and Tony Mendo. One of the maybe best growers out there, honestly. We have these amazing pre-rolls. It's all pure flower. We strain it twice. We get out anything that shouldn't be in there. So the smoke, it's just beautiful. We've been through the brain candy. We have this pineapple one coming up, pineapple upside down cake. We had some lava cake. We also like to support our other, farmers from our Mendocino community. So everything we use is sun-grown. Again, comes from that Mendo origin. Honestly, they're priced like super compassionately, and just the idea is to provide a really clean, smooth, fruity smoke. So,
well, you guys are doing it for all the right reasons. Women owned, women empowering, and we wanted to spotlight you, and we appreciate you coming on Farm to Table Cannabis and lacing our tennis shoes about
thanks,
everything.
Chef. I
macaroon.
appreciate you. I can't wait for you to try these. Remember, these are 40 milligrams each, so
these will put you on your butt if you're not careful.
That's right. Know what you're getting into. Know your dosage.
So a big shout out to Madam Munchies, Hydro Chef approved. We're going to get lit. We're going to take some rips, and you can catch us next Wednesday in the studio educating you and meducating you. Hydro Chef approved. DFZradio.com.
Feeling so high. Roll up that hydro make me feel fine. Roll up that hydro make me feel fine. Cook up that hydro make me feel high. Feeling so high. Chefs in the kitchen and they chopping up hydro. The hydro chefs in the building and they rolling up hydro. Hydro's in the kitchen and they cooking it up. Hydro, let's